Central Police base at Gordons Barracks.
Work together as a team.
400 million Kina Hospital for Enga.
Model province of Papua New Guinea.
And afternoon traffic accident.
This is National EMTV News with Meriba Tulo.
A very good evening. Thank you for joining us for Sunday's news. For the first time, all units under the Central Police Provincial Command will be housed in the same building. This follows a special agreement between the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary and the Australian Federal Police. Through the joint policing partnership, the old police training building at Gordons Barracks was renovated to temporarily house Central Police.
The renovated building was officially opened with a police parade consisting of 2 companies. It was renovated with financial support from the Australian government. AFP Commander Bruce Giles explained that under the joint policing partnership, AFP, through the Australian government, will continue to support the constabulary where it can.
I hope in some small way that what has been able to be done here in terms of the renovation of this building to provide a new command for Central Province Police, I hope that'll in some small way assist you to do your duties for the community.
The old Central Police base was in a colonial building at Konidobu. Deputy Police Commissioner Administration Raphael Uafolo says because the Central Provincial Government did not have a proper provincial headquarter, it made it difficult for the constabulary to assist Central Police.
What it really needs to happen is we were expecting the provincial authority to actually build a provincial police, provincial headquarters so that the provincial police command can actually be established at that particular headquarters.
The Central Police base will house public safety, transport and criminal investigation divisions. This initiative was greatly appreciated by Central Police Commander Laimo Asi.
It's a way forward, and I would like to thank the AFP for their support, providing funding to have this place renovated, and will be used by my police station commander. And there are all the sections that have been scattered all over the place to come here and work together as a team.
Senior officers from both RPNGC and AFP were present to witness the launching. Tekligunga, National EMTV News.
Over 600 security personnel have been engaged in conducting security operations for polling in Central Province. Central Police Commander Laimo Asi says members of the Joint Task Force are making preparations for deployment this week. Central has 4 electorates and the 600 personnel will be divided into those electorates.
So far, so good. I have 4 to 5 members per team who will be conducting security for 4 electorates within the province. And by 19th, I should have my men with allocated to each polling offices or returning offices to get to know themselves, so that by 20th or 21 we should deploy to areas that we will provide in security for the polling purposes.
The Papua New Guinea Electoral Commission says ballot papers have been dispatched to all provinces. This with the help of the Australian Defence Force, who assisted in airlifting some of the ballot papers to the Highlands region. The ballot papers are part of what the Electoral Commission calls sensitive election materials that were dispatched to provinces. The other sensitive materials include candidate posters, polling schedules, closed user group mobile phones for polling teams, indelible ink and electoral rolls. The Commission says sensitive materials for the New Guinea Islands, Momase and Southern region were dispatched over the last 2 weekends, while the Highlands commenced on Friday and was completed yesterday. Registrar of Political Parties and Candidates, Dr. Alphonse Gelu, says negative campaigning is exciting times for PNG. Speaking to EMTV today, Dr. Gelu says while it is allowed, negative campaigning needs to be backed with facts.
So whoever is making a negative campaign has to use it based on facts. So when I saw the advertisement by the People's National Congress, I had no problem with it. And that's a type of, we can encourage them. We can encourage them because we have to talk about the record of political parties. We have to talk about the record of candidates. A candidate might be saying that I'm promoting this, but in Parliament, he might have voted for something else. Then people can ask him, you voted against it, but now why are you saying that you'll do this? That is very important. It will put leaders on their feet. It will put political parties on their feet. In fact, last week I also saw a full-page advertisement by the National Alliance Party against the People's National Congress on the economy. And the National Alliance used graphs to show how things have changed over the years from 2012 to 2017. It also a very good campaign by the National Alliance against the People's National Congress.
Prime Minister Peter O'Neill on Friday formalized the construction of a 400 million kina hospital project in Enga province. The hospital has been designed by an American architect and is of world-class standard. It will be the new Enga Provincial Hospital.
For the first time after 41 years of being independent, and a new hospital will be built in Enga province, thanks to the O'Neill-Dion government for borrowing a 400 million kina loan from the Chinese government, which saw the groundbreaking ceremony last Friday. Those who attended the ceremony were the head of State Department, Isaac Lupari, and other senior departmental heads, Chinese ambassador to PNG, Xui Bing, including Enga Governor Sir Peter Ipatas and sitting Wabek MP Robert Ganim. The Prime Minister told the people of Enga province to have continuity of their members of parliament for PNG to change. O'Neill blamed the past government for mismanaging the trust account and not putting it into good use.
Suppose government in a good plan, why na senis wog come up? Why na senis na work come up lo country lo yimi? Enga province last 5 years, Simplani project, Teachers College, Nursing College, Polytech, IBS. Rodigolo lagam pogre golsem. Rodigam lo kande bigam osem. Wabek town roads. They now drive lao siklo yimin salena. Drive lao sikin salena.
PNG and China are the largest trading partners in the Pacific. Currently, 40 Chinese companies are investing in PNG in agriculture, forestry and fisheries. Chinese Ambassador Xing Bing said this partnership between PNG and China is to significantly improve the livelihood of the people. The new hospital is a project by China Import and Export Bank and will be constructed by a Chinese company.
I understand that access to good medical services is a long-awaited dream of the people in this part of Papua New Guinea. At this very special moment, I'm proud to say that the project is funded by China Export and Import Bank with preferential buyer credit and is going to be constructed by the Chinese company, Chinese contractor, the China Guangdong Foreign Construction Corporation.
Since 2012, Enga province has seen tangible developments in education, roads, infrastructure and health. This was one of Sir Peter Ipatas' vision to make Enga province become the education and health hub for PNG. Since 2013, when O'Neill came into power, 165 million kina was spent on Enga's free education. This has prompted Sir Peter Ipatas to join People's National Congress Party.
So was me still lo ibla min na stop 20 years. Me stop 20 years. Let me go 5 years. Me na stop over time. Bien yo se mi naita me by go to. That's what me must set him Enga good. Enga must stop good past time. Ibla straight and good. And now time blow young plan by come. Now me want the team blow me by go form him government. Now make sure also Enga I come up one blood. Model province of Papua New Guinea.
Meanwhile, some major hospitals in the country were running out of drugs and medical consumables. Health Secretary Pasco Kase said that medicines have arrived already in PNG and medical suppliers are beginning to supply them. Vasanata Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
Borough Governor Gary Juffa has spoken out against the deportation of New Zealand Catholic missionary Douglas Tennant. EMTV spoke to Acting Chief Migration Officer, who said Tennant's deportation relates to visa conditions. However, Juffa, who has been vocal about foreign investors in the country, says the move by the Immigration Office to deport Mr. Tennant was illegal and not in the best interest of Papua New Guineans who are being marginalized on their own land by big foreign companies. Edwin Fidelis reports from Kokopo.
It's been a week since Douglas Tennant was deported from Papua New Guinea. Mr. Tennant, attached to the Catholic Archdiocese of Rabaul as an administrator, was providing legal advice to the people of West Pomio in East New Britain province regarding a disputed oil pump project allegedly owned by a foreign developer. Mr. Tennant was forced to leave the country by the Immigration Office after a formal complaint was lodged by the West Pomio people claiming Mr. Tennant has overstayed his visa. His departure has caused debate amongst people, the Catholic Church and the government. On Thursday, Gary Juffa, who has been a face behind the controversial SABL, has claimed that the move taken by the Immigration Office to deport Doug Tennant was illegal.
What does that say about a government like this? It is very strange. It is double standard. It is complete hypocrisy. Obviously, this government does not represent the interests of the people. Because if it did, then it would stand with Doug Tennant and it would say, okay, let us fight this corruption. Let us find out who's responsible and deal with them on behalf of our landowners.
A line of division has been drawn between those who want Tennant to stay and those who claimed Tennant was illegally residing in the country. The Catholic Archdiocese in Papua New Guinea on one hand says they won't take the government's action lightly. On Friday, the Rabaul Catholic Archdiocese staged a peaceful protest in Kokopo to show their frustrations over the deportation of one of their own and demanded answers from the government.
We want justice for Doug Tennant.
On the other hand, the West Pomio landowners and the Immigration Office, who were behind Mr. Tennant's deportation, still maintain their stand that Tennant has overstayed his visa and needs to go. A stay order obtained from the Kokopo National Court by the Rabaul Catholic Archdiocese last Monday to retain Mr. Tennant minutes before his departure from the country was, however, rendered ineffective. Mr. Tennant's deportation has come at a time as the public continue to accuse the government for allowing illegal immigrants and foreign investors to enter the country. Mr. Juffa says while Tennant is working for the good of the people, there are others who were permitted by the government to enter the country and exploit the people and their resources at will, and nothing has been done about it.
And what has happened to Doug Tennant is shameful. It's yet another indicator that we have an uncaring government in place that does not have any interest of the landowners at heart.
Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Kokopo.
Acting Chief Migration Officer Solomon Kanta maintains that missionary Douglas Tennant was merely deported for breaching the conditions of his special exemption religious work visa. He said Tennant breached conditions of that visa when he engaged in providing legal advice for the church concerning sensitive land issues. Kanta, however, assured the church that Tennant's visa was currently being reviewed and that the department has invited for him to reapply for a new one. You're watching National EMTV News. We'll have more after these messages. Stay tuned. "17 women from Port Moresby returned from Australia after a month away from their families in a hope to find income opportunities. Kuma Jason, the women's group representative, said the trip was made possible by a Moresby Northwest candidate. They will go back to Australia after the elections under the seasonal workers visa to work on farms.
For the 17 women, seeing Australia was only a dream. To work there was something impossible. The ladies are returning from a one-month trip where they checked out farms to return to work on through the seasonal worker visa. Kuma Jason, speaking on behalf of the 17, said the trip gave them an opportunity for them to see another country and allow them to find a way of income.
We got opportunity when we plug PNG, we plug and got chance to go stop or bless plug Australia. We plug looking, we plug a big master.
Their travel was sponsored by Joe Tonde, a candidate for Moresby North West, who wants to put up 2 to 3 million kina in allowing unemployed women and youth to Australia to work on farms through the seasonal worker visa program.
2 to 3 million kina, location visa passport, bami bilang by arranging pam all, one them all Australia government, one them Papua New Guinea labor long here, na mi bilang mas help mi bilang.
The number of Papua New Guinean seasonal workers has increased since 2012, as shown on the Seasonal Workers Program. But other countries like Tonga and Timor-Leste, their number has increased rapidly due to the support of their government's bureaucrats with Australia, while PNG government has still not improved avenues to send citizens to work on farms. Meanwhile, Kuma's husband says the opportunity was a once-in-a-lifetime for their family.
Mi man sampla mano ba film sampla kai no sem hat no salum medico bat mi film o sem manem true hem o sampla group service ba kanso mi release medico mental.
It is one thing to preach about what you hope to do once elected and another to be implementing it before you are in power, says Joe Tonde.
Australia na kam na yubla leaders blo ogra meri yubla go so mi lagi molsem Ogra Mary way stop Baksat lo yubla by go to Australia.
Yeah. After voting, the 17 who represent separate women groups plan to return to work on farms with the support of Joe Tonde, who is also the party leader for PNG One Nation Party. Adelaide Xerox Curry National, MTV News.
You're watching National MTV News. Stories making headlines overseas. When we return, a collision at sea and marking the Queen's birthday weeks after the tragedy in London. Stay tuned. Welcome back to National MTV News. Turning overseas now, the 7 US sailors missing after their destroyer collided with a container ship just off the coast of Japan have been found dead. A search and rescue operation has been launched, but in the past few hours, their bodies were found on board the ship in flooded quarters.
Tow back to its Japanese base. The search for the 7 missing crew ended when rescuers gained access to the flooded berthing compartments on the damaged destroyer, locating their bodies. And now a mystery's emerging. Multiple maritime trackers show the ACX Crystal container ship hooking this giant U-turn Friday night, just minutes before nearly T-boning the USS Fitzgerald. The ship's owners have yet to make any comment. 3 Fitzgerald crew members, including the ship's commanding officer, had to be medevaced. Others treated on board. The collision with the 30,000-ton ACX Crystal in one of the busiest shipping lanes in the world seemed to gut the Fitzgerald's midsection, but the US Navy said there was also damage below the waterline.
The damage is consequential and will probably take the Fitzgerald out of service for months, if not years to come.
It's now tied up at its Yokosuka base south of Tokyo. The fatalities adding to the significant blow to the US presence in the Pacific. The ship's missile defense system has become even more vital with recent North Korean provocation.
This is a particularly bad mishap for the US Navy because the Fitzgerald is one of the most sophisticated ships in the US Navy.
The question then is, how could a ship with such sophisticated radar fail to see a massive container ship bearing down on it?
As Britain reels in the wake of its recent tragedies, the Queen's birthday parade reflected the somber mood of the nation, with their thoughts with the families of victims in Manchester and London.
On a day intended for celebration, the Queen led the nation in sorrow. Before leaving Buckingham Palace for Horse Guards, she stood with the Duke of Edinburgh for a minute's silence. A moment of reflection, joined by the Foot Guards on the parade ground and the cavalry at the palace gates, in remembrance of those lost at Grenfell Tower and in the terrorist attacks in London and Manchester. In a statement issued at 6 o'clock this morning, the Queen said, "Today is traditionally a day of celebration. This year, however, it is difficult to escape a very sombre national mood." Yesterday she'd visited the scene of the fire at Grenfell Tower and met some of those who've lost friends and neighbours. It had clearly made a deep impression. In her statement she said, I have been profoundly struck by the immediate inclination of people throughout the country to offer comfort and support to those in desperate need. She went on, put to the test, the United Kingdom has been resolute in the face of adversity. Her birthday parade went ahead. It had all the familiar components. The Foot Guards marched and trooped the colour of the Irish Guards. And the royal family appeared on the palace balcony, where Prince George, as usual, stole the show, gazing down at the crowds, and then as the RAF flypast appeared, up at the sky with his sister. But this was no ordinary trooping. This was a year when the head of state reflected the country's feelings of shock and grief.
Yeah, with National MTV News, Trukai Sports is up next. We'll have the details after these messages. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The SPPNG Hunters lost to Tweed Head Seagulls 14 points to 10 in what could be the biggest upset of the season. The Seagulls are placed last on the Intra Super Cup ladder, whilst the Hunters sit on first place. SPPNG Hunters coach Michael Marum was disappointed with his team's performance and says they have a lot of work to do before their next match.
From the start we didn't stick to our game plan, so just if Ase was there in there, the 9 wasn't following what we planned to do. Also, his brother Watson, but no, not an excuse missing the keeper. We had 13 boys, all capable of playing against sides like this. We knew it was going to be a tough one. You know, the most nervous games are the ones that you play top position, the bottom team. So
it's a little bit easier for us. Credit to the Hunters, they are top of the table, so they have to be good every single week. Our season hasn't been as consistent, and we've had good and bad weeks, but when we're good, we have the ability to compete. We've been lucky enough to beat Redcliffe. We did a good job against the Capras and then today. So for our players today, it's a great reward that if they believe in themselves and they come out and they commit everything they have, as you saw in those last 3 minutes when PNG could have scored 2 or 3 times, then we can get the 2 points.
To football, Tommy Semi scored a hat-trick as MRDC Hekari United FC won the inaugural National Premier League Championship title with a 4-0 win over FC Papaka at the PNG Football Stadium in Port Moresby. Hekari, who now record their first Premiership title win in the newly formed semi-professional football competition. Shane Saraya reports.
The National Premier League Grand Final was set to live, with entertainments provided by Solomon Island Singer led by Delma Rosie, and PNG's Wame Blood setting the mood for the afternoon's thriller. Hekari, who now have a record of no losses in the NPL, took the lead through a Tommy Semi goal in the 28th minute as he struck a pinpoint shot into the net after a David Muta assist. FC Papaka showed resilience with several shots fired to the opponent's goal mouth, but to no avail as veteran goalkeeper Leslie Kalai was equal to the task. However, the man in red hit back a mere 7 minutes later after Semi was brought down in the penalty area, in which he scored his second from the resulting penalty. The challenge was harder for Papaka, who needed to overcome the margin to stay in the running. But then a penalty taken by Otto Kusunan, Soko Lukapu capitalized on a defensive error to send his team with a 3-point lead into halftime. The one-time OFC champions took charge after the break, extending the lead through a long-range shot from Tommy Semi in the 15th minute. Despite of the large margin, FC Papaka kept the pressure on their opponents to dominate periods of the second half, coming close to scoring twice. Hikari eventually won the match by 4-0. For FC Papaka, while it may seem like an impossible barrier to overcome at this stage, one thing is for certain, this young emerging team has what it takes to pull it off next season. Shane Saroya, National, EMTV Sports.
To netball, a classy performance by Rebels captain Luarikis led her side to a 20-point win in the opening round 3 fixture against Mona. The introduction of a host of younger players including Marilyn Taule and Justina Gabina.
Scoring chances came early for Russia, playing with confidence and unexpected flair. A powerful header by defender Victor Vasin bouncing off the inside of the post before being cleared by New Zealand's Michael McGlinchey. Marinovic kept his team in the match early in the second half with back.
Apologies for the incorrect story there. We'll come back to that later on. The 2019 Pacific Games looks bleak at the moment with Tonga's withdrawal from hosting duties due to financial constraints. Fiji initially put its hands up, but now Fiji Association of Sports and National Olympic Committee President Joseph Roden said they are not ready to bid to host. This follows a series of consultations with their government. Roden said Fiji has all the facilities to host but are taking a step back to give other Pacific countries a chance to bid. After hosting the 2015 edition, PNG has made it clear they will not bid to host the 2019 Games. You're with Trukai Sports. We'll have more after these messages. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. To round 15 of the NRL Telstra Premiership in 2 close matches yesterday, the Storms came out winners 23-22 over the North Queensland Cowboys, while the Cronulla Sharks scraped off a 24-22 victory against the West Tigers. And in Friday night's match, the Rabbitohs bagged a massive win with 36 points to the Titans 20.
For the Melbourne Storms, it was another golden point win. They were leading 22 points to the Cowboys 14 in the first half after they bagged 3 tries. Cowboys fought back and that sent them into overtime in the second half. It took the North Queensland guys 1 converted try and a penalty to close in on competition leader the Storms.
2 field goals. They'd lost their first 3 matches of the
22 all at full time, they were forced into golden points. And a superb kick from Brodie Croft brought the victory home for the Storms.
A star is born indeed!
And the match between the Sharks and West Tigers saw similar encounter. Though the West Tigers had upper hand with possession and recording more sets than their opponents, they failed to put in extra fight needed to win. Scoring only 4 tries, they fell short of leveling with the Sharks, who brought home 5 tries. The Sharks proved too strong with 24 points to the name, while their opponent 22 at full time. Dinaron Striko, National, EMTV Sports.
To Rugby Union, the gap between the Lions and the All Blacks is a lot smaller than many think. The Lions dominated the match at Rotorua with a forwards game many predicted.
Statement they've made here in Rotorua, 32-10. What a result, 1 week out from the first test.
After going toe-to-toe with the Lions for 80 minutes, the Māori have some feedback for the All Blacks.
It's a bit different to what we're used to. I guess a northern hemisphere type of pack compared to a southern hemisphere.
I've got all faith in the All Blacks that they'll hopefully do the job, but it's going to be a lot closer than a lot of punters probably thought at the beginning of this week.
The greasy Rotorua conditions perfect for the Lions' style, with plenty of grunt up front and an aerial bombardment of the back 3.
They've spilt more of those tonight than you would have ever expected.
It enabled them to contain some of our most exciting backs with rush defence.
I think we went there and we squeezed the life out of them. They didn't feel like the Maori were able to stress them at all, and their 1 try is really from a speculative kick that's got a lucky bounce.
And for the first time on this tour, the Lions even showed a bit of flair.
They have made line breaks out wide on the tram lines. The balance in their game is very good.
Another strong performance saw Ben Teo all but confirmed to start against the All Blacks.
I guess there's going to be a good matchup against Sonny, I guess, or whoever's in there.
The Lions could only manage a penalty try as one to lock Mauro Itoje, while the boot of Lee Halfpenny added 20 points, most mostly from penalties, as the Lions avoided being penalised at all in the entire second half.
We know we've got a big step up playing against the All Blacks, but all I can say from our point of view is that this could be a great rugby series. You know, it could be fantastic and everyone could get excited about it.
Even if it is the British and Irish Lions version of exciting.
Still on rugby, injuries caused Jamie McKenzie to play the Lions twice in 3 days. 2 of the 7 Chiefs players in last night's Maori All Blacks side will back up on Tuesday.
Will be led by veteran, the Battlers Prince, Stephen Donald.
In the preparation with obviously a few of our, I guess, louder voices aren't here this week, so other guys have stepped up as they did last year.
Lock Michael Allardyce hopes the match has a happier ending than the win over Wales last year.
The Chiefs won 40-7, but was it a happy ending for you?
Not really, no. I ended up going off, I think, just before half-time. I got cleaned out on a ruck and my leg got sort of wrenched in the wrong direction and ended up tearing a bit of a cartilage out. So had to get surgery, and that's what actually put me out for the last few months.
With 10 frontline players missing, it's a chance for the wider Chiefs group to make names for themselves. Meanwhile, lock Courtney Laws has recovered from last week's sickening head knock in the Lions to take his place in the team, which will be led by Irish hooker Rory Best. Well, here's another boost for Northern Hemisphere rugby. Scotland, yes, Scotland has beaten Australia again, this time in Sydney.
Runners on the inside as well. It's Scotland on the charge.
Scotland winning 24-19. New Lion Finn Russell has the final say. Scotland set to rise to 4th in the world when the rankings are out tomorrow. The Fijians pulled one back for the South, though, beating Italy in Suva. A last play drop goal under advantage to win 22-19.
To golf, the US Golf Open is wide open leading into tomorrow's 4th round in Wisconsin. Apart from Ricky Fowler, the rest of the contenders are hardly household names, but one young record-breaking American could change all that.
Young men who can pull off wearing pink slacks, but when you're 24 and play golf like Justin Thomas, you can. 300 yards out from the pin on the 18th.
Oh my, what a shot! Gosh.
Thomas went on to eagle the last. His whole round was a highlight reel. Earlier on the 5th, an audacious putt. He ended up carding a US Open record.
Oh, this could come back. This could be good. Come on, come back, roll back.
A staggering 9 birdies and that eagle. 31 for the front 9. Every club was on song. Even a rescue in the fescue rough with an impossible lie. Thomas made it look easy. The golfing gods were smiling today on the Kentucky native. Thomas up on his toes, lets rip for nearly 300 yards again with a 3-wood, with the ball on a string once again.
Oh, now come back, come back.
He's always been destined. Thomas, the youngest to shoot 59 on the tour, the 3rd youngest to make the cut of a PGA event at 16.
Just for me, I felt like I'd been playing a week and didn't have quite the numbers to show for it, and obviously today I definitely had something to show for it.
Little-known 30-year-old American Brian Harmon, making his first US Open cut, has the lead, one ahead of 3 players, including Thomas. But the day belongs to his young compatriot and that booming 300-yard shot on the 18th.
Oh, gosh, Jimmy, be good.
If he's this good tomorrow morning, Justin Thomas could become a first-time major winner. To our earlier story, hosts Russia eased to a 2-0 win over New Zealand on Saturday in the opening match of the Confederations Cup, a tournament seen as a test for the country before it stages next year's Football World Cup. Midfielder Denis Glushakov flicked the ball over goalkeeper Stefan Marinovic in the 31st minute as New Zealand defenders rushed back to try to clear it off the line. New Zealand's Michael Boxall got a touch on the ball and was credited with an own goal.
Scoring chances came early for Russia, playing with confidence and unexpected flair. A powerful header by defender Viktor Vasin bouncing off the inside of the post before being cleared by New Zealand's Michael McGlinchey. Marinovic kept his team in the match early in the second half with back-to-back saves, diving to punch away a header by Dmitry Polov before scrambling to his left to smother a rebound attempt by Alexander Erokhin. But weak defending allowed Russia's Fedor Smolov to slip past the New Zealand defence and tap in a low cross by teammate Alexander Samedov in the 69th minute.
Видимо, не собрана была, а мы были с первых минут готовы. Понятно, что когда высший руководитель страны на матче приветствует еще, с одной стороны, дополнительное дополнительный плюс, а с другой стороны дополнительная ответственность. Но мы со своими задачами сегодня справились, как я уже не раз говорил.
Самое важное – это то, что мы добились 3 очков и победили в первом же матче.
World champions Germany and the champions from FIFA's 6 confederations are competing in the 2-week tournament that will allow Russia to test its football infrastructure in 4 of the 11 cities hosting World Cup matches. Russia, a record low 63rd in FIFA's world rankings, face Portugal on Wednesday, and New Zealand play Mexico the same day.
We don't get a lot of opportunity to play against top teams, so this was an unbelievable experience for us tonight. And I think, you know, we come away from this, we're going to learn a lot from this game. And, you know, the manner of the way we develop our team and the way we work, we'll look at everything from tonight, we'll learn from it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a difficult match. We had our chances, we had our opportunities, but unfortunately we didn't take them. But it's one of those things. It was a tough match, but it was a good match.
The Confederation Cup pits the top sides in FIFA's 7 confederations, as well as the World Cup winner and World Cup host against each other. Jeremy Mogi, National TV Sports.
And that ends True Kai Sports. Up next, the weather details for the next 24 hours. Stay tuned.
True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Here's a look at the weather forecast over the next 24 hours in the southern region. Port Moresby mostly fine throughout with a top temperature of 31 degrees. 31 as well, the top temperature for Daru, Kerama, Alotau and Popondetta. To the Momase region, mostly fine in Lae and Wa with a top temperature of 31 as well. Mostly fine Medang with a top temperature of 31 degrees. Showers and thunderstorms expected for Wewak and Vanimo. To the New Guinea Islands region, showers and thunderstorms expected in Lorengau and Kimbe. Evening showers in Kavieng. Fine weather in Kokopo, Rabaul and Buka. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg, all these major centres can expect an evening shower or two with early morning fog developing.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
And that's the way it is this Sunday, the 18th of June, 2017. From the EMTV News team, you have a pleasant working week. Good night.